Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life, you know you can't pretend. The days pass by, they've set in stone. But it's not too late now for you to change your tone. Don't speak. Don't speak. Open your soul. Don't harden your heart. Don't speak. Don't speak. Open your soul. Don't harden your heart. Don't back.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It is Marianne, and it is 7:11 in the morning on February 12th. We have some news that we want to share with you that really got us frustrated yesterday, but we wanted to get ahead of what was happening and let you know that. So today, when you start your day to make your phone calls and do your emails, that you're going to be adding 2 more phone calls to your list. Because yesterday, Henry Garrido was telling DC 37 retirees that he was going to have a meeting with some of them. He never had any intention of meeting with them because he was in Albany yesterday lobbying against Intro 1096, a bill that current retirees did. And you know, we always tell you that current retirees are no longer in unions. So if they're not in a union and Henry doesn't negotiate for them, then we just don't seem to understand why he keeps telling elected officials that he can negotiate for us. So yesterday, this is exactly what he was doing. And unfortunately, this was his goal. His goal was to make sure that he got ahead of our legislation and let elected leaders know that he is against our legislation and why. Then, if that wasn't bad enough, the Municipal Labor Committee, of course, you know, he's one of the chairs of, decided to come out against our legislation even harder and send a letter to the city council and the speaker, letting them know that they're still even more against our legislation and exactly why. So I want to read you that letter. So give me 1 second to pull that up here. And I'm going to read that to you. So, all right. So the Municipal Labor Committee put this letter out. It was sent to the speaker and it was sent to all of city council members. I'm going to read this to you and then give you your homework assignment on top of it because I have a jam-packed day today and I want to make sure that before 9 o'clock, you have your additional homework. You're going to continue to call and email city council, and then you're going to call Henry Garrido and Harry Nespoli. You're also, if you would kindly, please, if you were retired and you had a former union, you're going to call that office as well, and I will give you those instructions shortly. Let's go into the letter. So this letter says, Dear Speaker Adams, as you may recall, the New York City Municipal Labor Committee, the MLC, a statutorily created consortium of the city's 102 municipal unions, urged you and the council on October 30th of last year to oppose Intro 1096-2024, a bill introduced by council members Christopher Marte that would unlawfully and unwisely restrict the rights of unions to negotiate retiree health benefits. So I want to break this down. Everywhere you see yellow, this is what this is another debunking bullshit. We're going to highlight this and red mark it like we usually do and put it up on our website. But it does not restrict a union from negotiating for those in their unions. Unions cannot negotiate benefits for current retirees. Hard stop right there. That's been settled in multiple courts all the way up to the federal level. So the law would this is the bill, Chris Marte's bill 1096, would unlawfully and unwisely restrict the rights of unions to negotiate retiree health benefits. No. Henry, Harry, Michael, the MLC, all the unions, the police unions, the fire unions, the sanitation unions, the construction unions, all of them can negotiate for current workers and future retirees. They can no longer negotiate for they can negotiate for current employees and future retirees. They cannot negotiate for current retirees. Now, this would never have normally with real labor leaders have been an issue, because every union knows that you protect your retiree health benefits from diminishment. What this idiot did was agreed to negotiate down healthcare benefits. In 2018, part of his deal with the United Federation of Teachers was to negotiate retirees' health care away. When you start reading this letter with me, you're going to see he wants access to current retiree health benefits to use as value or leverage or sell off to finance him. This has to keep being called out. Unions had a duty to protect current retirees because they're not in unions and management can screw them without them. What he did was he got in bed with management to sell off retiree health benefits. I can't say this enough, and I have to keep saying it. You cannot agree to liquidate a current retiree's benefit, privatize a federal public health benefit, force people into Medicare Advantage, push them into a plan that their hospitals or doctors don't accept. We earned this, and this was one of the reasons why we joined a union in the first place. He had a duty, morally, ethically, to protect retired people. Instead, he sold off their benefits for his own benefit. So every time you speak to someone, you call that out. So I'm going to continue. It says the MLC writes to update your office and the council as a whole on related events and to reiterate our staunch opposition to this unworkable legislation. State and local law make health benefits a mandatory subject of bargaining. Now, if he just read the rest of the bill, he would realize, like to the Taylor law in New York City, collective bargaining law, that he's only allowed to do that for people in his union. I don't think he read his contract recently, because nowhere in there does it say retired person. So it says, and require the city to provide coverage for certain benefits. For more than half a century, the city and the MLC negotiated health benefits applicable to both in-service and retired city employees. Now, that's not really true. They like to say that all the time, like the MLC negotiates. They have no negotiating power. They are allowed to operate like a coalition, and that's only if the unions all get together. But see, the unions have Stockholm syndrome. These leaders, because most of them are new and don't have educational background, don't realize that they have their bargaining certificate. They do not have to negotiate like this. And if they come back and they say, we are not voting in this, we are not taking up this position, but none of them understand their value. They don't, very few of them do, that they don't have to do this. Healthcare is a mandatory subject of bargaining for every single union in the city of New York on their own. It's the labor relations, Renee Campion, Bob Lynn, Claire Levitt. These are the lazy people because they don't want to negotiate with each and every union healthcare. So what they do is they make them all think that they have to do this. The MLC doesn't have a bargaining certificate. There is no statutory obligation for them to negotiate healthcare benefits. This is a ruse. So if all the unions finally got together and said, you guys have screwed us enough over the last 10 years, screw you, we're taking this on our own, they can. And if they all pressure labor relations would have to negotiate with each and every one of them. They never had the ability to negotiate healthcare plans. What they don't realize was over the years, since labor leaders keep changing, that they've been manipulated to keep giving givebacks, pass on more copays to be able to finance their contracts. And if you guys, active workers, are listening to this message, you're funding your contracts right today on copays and deductibles. And if you don't believe me, go and look at all the healthcare changes. And it wasn't Emblem Health that put them in there. It was your union.
So in continuing with this letter, it says that the working together to ensure both active and retired employees receive high quality premium free health coverage. Now, we used to have high quality premium free health coverage until Henry, Harry, Michael, the rest of the MLC, well, most of them, tried to force us into Medicare Advantage, a plan that many of our doctors and hospitals don't have and is fraught with prior authorization. That is a diminishment of healthcare benefit, and we've proven that time and time again. So that there is also highlighted. Intro 1096 aims to rewrite existing collective bargaining agreements and seize control of health benefits from the unions representing them in violation of state and local law. Actually, it doesn't, again, because current retirees are not in unions. I owe him nothing. He owes me nothing. And I'm a DC 37 retiree. So it doesn't look to seize control. We're trying to protect ourselves from the very person who's supposed to be protecting us from trying to kill us. While Intro 1096 purports to protect retiree health benefits, it actually threatens them by taking the program out of the hands of elected workers' representatives who are best equipped to assess their needs and seek a just result. Well, the interesting thing is that Henry and the MLC agreed to diminish benefits. We are looking to protect ourselves from them because real educated leaders would never have diminished a healthcare benefit or privatized Medicare. That's exactly what they did. And yet, out the other side of his mouth, he's screaming how Project 2025 is a threat against unionism, a threat against democracy. It's going to kill us all. But Henry and many of the others are absolutely allowing the default plan for Medicare, which is Medicare Advantage, in that default plan to be implemented in Project 2025. He can't start screaming Project 2025 from the mountain that this presidential administration is going to destroy unions when he's doing it himself. And the same goes for Lee Saunders. They can't keep doing that. The unions need to get together and protect this, or this will be a problem. So that whole paragraph right there where it's highlighted, we're calling bullshit on that because we're not looking to seize control from anything. They don't own us. They don't protect us. They're literally stealing from us. We're looking to do a law that would protect us from them because they've lost their way. The next paragraph says, while Intro 1096 2024 purports to protect health benefits, it actually threatens them. As I just read that. While some have questioned our member unions' fidelity to their retirees, it cannot be gainsaid, I have no idea what that means, that the aspiration of all union leaders is to someday be well provided for retiree. Well, if you want to be a well provided for retiree, then maybe you want to stop selling us off. Yet rather than remain in the hands of elected union representatives, which of course we didn't elect, Intro 1096 2024 would transfer ownership of the program to the legislative framework, one that by its very nature calls for a balancing of a myriad of interests and compromises. And that's not true either. And in many areas of the state, that also isn't true. So I don't understand why he's saying that. It's not looking to balance anything or take balance a myriad of interests and compromises. It's literally looking to preserve what's been in place for 60 years. Not diminish it, not improve upon it, not change it. Say, this is what we had. Medicare pays your first 80%. The supplement pays your last 20%. That's it. We're not looking to take over the world. Somehow he thinks we're like Pinky in the Brain. As we explained in our October 30 letter, legislative control over pension benefits, which unlike health benefits have additional constitutional protections, has only led them to be weakened with each succeeding tier. We are deeply concerned that whatever the intentions of the current bill, it would act as a Trojan horse for such degradation in the future. Well, it can't because he's already doing that. We're not looking at a Trojan horse. Again, if Henry and the municipal labor unions in the city of New York were protecting retiree benefits from diminishment and not forcing people into privatized Medicare Advantage plans, this would never have been needed to be done. But they've shown themselves to not be able to be trusted. That's the problem. So it's not a Trojan horse, and their pension tiers have been diminishing because they've been allowing that to happen. Some of those deals that they did, even when Cuomo was in office, they could have fought that, and they chose not to. What they actually did was leverage it. Some of the unions during that time were leveraging going into tier 6, which was one of the biggest reasons why Roger Toussaint actually went on strike, was to prevent tier 6 from happening. And yet people seem to forget that and blame him for a whole lot of other things. There's a whole nother show, but they were real unions trying to stop tier 6. And unfortunately, some of the largest unions in the city leveraged it for wages. And they thought that they would come back, because the saying used to be back then that if you got the bill on the books, you'd be able to go later and renegotiate it or update it, but at least get it passed, even if it's not entirely what you want. That was a messed up way of doing things. And we always challenged our leadership at the time. They were like, no, it's a start. It's what we can get past now. We'll fix it later. They weren't able to fix that. Then he goes on to say, oops, that's the second page, last paragraph. Oops, come on, go down. That the bill would have far-reaching negative impacts on the bill defines diminish in broad and ambiguous terms. It's actually not broad and ambiguous. It's actually quite definitive. And I read you the bill the other day in a video I did, so I'm not going to waste your time. You can go back and look at that video. We read you. It actually describes what diminish means. And it says it prohibits any change that could even potentially make it harder for the city. Now, look, I highlighted this whole page. For city retirees residing anywhere in the United States to access healthcare before such change was made. They're actually twisting that. Remember, Medicare has no networks. There's rare prior authorization. 99% of doctors in America accept it. It's the widest plan available to any retiree, no matter where you live. Medicare Advantage can't say that, and so much so that no matter how many times we've called bullshit on Aetna's network, Aetna can't even tell you how many doctors in America accept their plan. Medicare can boast that 99% of doctors in America accept their plan. Aetna refuses to give their quote, and they know what that answer is, but they won't say it. What they'll say is, well, 88% of doctors, retirees are currently seeing in that GHI senior care plan are in our network. That doesn't mean anything, because there's only like less than 200,000 retirees that are currently on senior care. So you're talking about, well, I think the last number was like 189,000 retirees. They're doctors. If every retiree sees like 2 or 3 doctors, that's not saying an awful lot. So that number is BS as well. And the union leadership didn't even pick that up. And we were screaming that, and yet they still didn't listen. He says such a sweeping prohibition would necessarily create enormous confusion and cost, as many policy choices by the city directly related to health benefits or not can potentially make it harder for retirees somewhere to access health care. For instance, hold on to your seats for this shit, because this is crazy. For instance, city land use or transportation policies that arguably diminish access to healthcare in some part of the city by closing or reducing access to a medical facility could fall afoul of the law, as public hospitals, housing, homeless prevention, and mental health services. Holy shit. No, this absolutely makes no sense. He says, let me reread that sentence. City land use or transportation policies that arguably diminish access to healthcare in some part of the city by closing or reducing access to a medical facility could fall afoul of the law, as could any effort to reform or find efficiencies in the city's public health regulations or social programs such as public hospitals, housing, homelessness prevention, and mental health services. Moreover, the city cannot control the effect that the policy choices of other jurisdictions, particularly conservative states like Florida or South Carolina, would have on healthcare of city retirees. They are so stupid, they don't realize if they actually read the damn bill, it requires that they don't diminish your healthcare benefits. It requires that they don't change you off of traditional Medicare and a city supplemental plan. That they cannot force you into privatized Medicare. I don't give a damn if they cancel your bus route and you can't get to the hospital. That's not diminishing. And if you didn't put us in this situation, we wouldn't need to keep doing this. Everyone that has a union, listen to this message, because your own leadership, from this guy to Harry Nespoli to all the people on that letterhead, and I'm going to read you their names in a minute. This is a problem because their names are on this letterhead. They must have agreed to this letter then. It says, the bill's retroactive application to the status quo on December 31, 2021 is also destabilizing. Much has transpired in healthcare in the past 3 years, which calls for sober analysis. Yeah, like you selling off our health benefits and passing copays on to us in order to finance your last contract. Both as to medical advances and escalating costs. Future changes in both state and federal policy and in external events like the COVID-19 pandemic are sure to occur in currently unpredictable ways. Sound policy considerations counsel against such a programmatic straitjacket. I don't know what the hell they're smoking on Barclay Street, but damn. And I think Harry must be on Cliff Street. It must be inhaling too much garbage. Intro 1096 is thus not just unlawful, it's unworkable. If passed, it would do little to protect healthcare for city employees while undermining the duly elected representatives of New York City's workforce. This bill should not be permitted to proceed. So what he's doing is sending this bill to every single city council member and and the speaker. And also what he's been doing is having his unions and sending retiree messages by robocall, robotext, and email and snail mail to contact the council and tell them that this bill is illegal, don't get on it, and if you're on it, get off. So I want to show you all of the names of the unions that are on this letterhead, and this is what they call their steering committee. Oops. Okay, so the chair is Harry Nespoli from Local 831 Sanitation Union. The co-chair is Henry Garrido, DC 37. By the way, grab a pen because I'm going to give you some phone numbers. The other executive vice chair is Michael Mulgrew, UFT. The secretary, Greg Floyd, Local 237. The treasurer is Gloria Middleton, Local 1180, CWA. The chairs, vice chairs, and here's the rest of the vice chairs. Andy Ansbro, UFA. Benny Bascio, corrections officers. James Brozzi, UFOA, fire officers. Joe Colangelo, SEIU, Local 246. Robert Krogan, Office of Staff Analyst. James Davis, Professional Staff Congress. Sonia Lawrence, New York State Nurses. Martin Leyden, District Council of Carpenters. William Lynn, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 30. Joe Mannion, Sanitation Officers Association. Francis Key, the Doctors Council. Henry Rubio, Council of Supervisors, School Supervisors. Peter Stein, the Lifeguard Supervisors, which I thought he retired. I don't even know why he's on here. Louis Turco, Lieutenant Benevolent Association. Maf Mizba Udin, Local 1407, New York City Accountants, Stationaries and Actuaries, AFSCME, DC 37. Anthony Wells, Local 371, Social Service Employees, DC 37. These are the people that you need to contact. Now, if you have your pen, the Sanitation Union, reach out to Harry Nespoli and let Harry know how you feel about this letter. I'm sure he's there now because I think he's usually there at 6. Their phone number is 212-964-8900. That's 212-964-8900. That is the union office. And then DC 37, of course, you're going to want to reach out to Henry Garrido. His number is 212-815-1511. That's 212-815-1511. So listen, folks, you need to keep calling the city council. You need to tell them that this letter that they received by Harry Nespoli is bullshit. You also need to remind them that you are not in a union. Your bill doesn't impact them, that it does nothing to them, and they had a duty, a moral obligation to protect you. And when they failed in that duty, it then became apparent that the council had to do what it always did and protect retirees. The council legislated 12-126. They've amended it since 1967 to protect retirees. It wasn't at the request of unions. It was typically at the behest of a retiree organization like ours. So unions are basically at this point, if they're not helping us, then they're on the side of oppression. Where are all those union leaders? Are they supporting retirees intro 1096? Are they not? And if you are in a retiree association, are you paying a COPE, or are you paying a PAC, or are you paying some sort of a COPE, a political action dues to your union? Because if you're paying a COPE or a PAC or a people's money, like in DC 37, to your former union or your retirees association, and they're not supporting you, then you need to reconsider those political action monies. I'm not talking about a dues to your association or a dues to your union if that's what you want to do. I'm talking about political action monies. These are monies that are right now being used against you because your people money, if you are DC 37, paid for this guy to go to Albany yesterday and lobby against Intro 1096, a bill that protects people who are not even in his union, that he had a moral duty to protect by history and past precedent, and he chose not to. He chose to sell you off and use the benefits, the value of what you had to finance his last contract. And he's going to keep doing it because every copay that you have on your GHI Senior Care today, or on your Emblem HIP VIP plan, or your HIP HMO, or your GHI CBP plan, any copay or deductible you are currently paying is because this municipal body is charging you a copay or a deductible as a backdoor premium while telling you there's no diminishment in your contracts, there's no diminishment to your benefits, and yet that copay and that deductible is in the form of a backdoor premium. We have seen the documents on this. In the litigation, they were saying to us that the copays that they just put on senior care evaluated approximately $57 million a year. Currently, on retirees on senior care, that's $53 million more that they could use in their contract that costs are now passed to you. A lower income, fixed income population that served your last union. You were your daytime army. You were the ones that when the unions called, you went and you answered that call. You went and you called elected officials. You did what they asked you to do. And unfortunately, now today, they are just going to keep robbing you blind because we don't have a seat at that table and we don't have a seat in the room. Thank you. That's a really good suggestion. Give me 1 second and see if I can put that up here. Harry Nespoli, sanitation, 212. What did I say that was? 212-964-8900. And Henry Garrido, 212-815-1511. And Henry Garrido, as you know, is DC 37. All right, ticker coming up, if I can do that. There you go. Donate to our organization. And then after that, it says Harry Nespoli Sanitation, 212-964-8900. Henry Garrido, DC 37, 212-815-1511. So when you are calling the council, you're letting them know that you're not in a union. You owe nothing to Henry Garrido or Harry Nespoli. You're not in the MLC. You don't elect them. Even the United Federation of Teachers, who allows a small percentage of their retirees to vote in the election of union officers, their collective bargaining agreements don't affect them either. When Michael Moger was passing another contract or trying to ratify another agreement, their retirees don't vote on that. By allowing the status quo and allowing these people that don't understand that they had a labor obligation to protect a current retiree, then they are only going to keep stealing from you. The city council needs to understand you are not in a union. Not even the United Federation of Teachers. You are a loyalty participant in their organization. They keep you connected by a dues connected to a health benefit that's provided only by the Union Welfare Fund. And the only thing a retiree gets from their former union is a welfare fund benefit like a prescription, vision, and dental. But see, not even the United Federation of Teachers offers a drug plan. They'll give you a partial reimbursement, but they don't give you a drug plan. DC 37 gives you a drug plan. It is a heavily managed plan with a narrow formulary, but still you have a premium-free drug plan. He can't keep saying that your healthcare is premium free when they're passing premium in a backdoor way as in the form of a copay or a deductible. That is a problem. Okay. And as you see, our new sign down here says DC 37 leading the way. And then right over there, we wrote into the ground, because we needed good, strong unions in the city of New York. This is not a good, strong union or a good, strong leader if they're advocating for stealing from current labor, retired labor. And they're not even telling active labor. They're using active labor, misleading them that they are should be advocating against us, that our bill is a threat against them. They don't even know what the hell they're calling for. They don't know what Intro 1096 does. They don't understand the benefit of protecting traditional Medicare over privatizing a federal public health benefit because they're not on it. They don't know the difference of this. All they hear is their union leader, and they're loyal to their union like we were, and say, call, they're threatening us, we have to resist. So this is a call out to every union, retired unionist, every person who is fighting this fight with us over the last 4 years. They just stepped up this game by sending out this bullshit letter to the city council with this pack of lies in here. You really need to put the pressure on them. Call the city council, email the city council, because what they should be saying, if they say to you, hey, we're getting calls from retirees that we shouldn't be signing on to 1096, what they should be asking those callers is, do you even know what 1096 does? Because our retirees can tell you it protects diminishment of health benefits, it protects traditional Medicare, and doesn't force you into a Medicare Advantage. And the importance of the date, let's say this again, the date that they don't want in the bill, that the bill is retroactive to December 31 of 2021. And that was because on January 1st of 2022, they passed a backdoor copay, a backdoor premium in the form of a copay onto you. You remember in January 1st of 2022, sorry, the cost of copays went into effect. That's why copays went into effect January 1st. That was the purpose. So this bill would put a supplemental plan in effect as what was in place on December 31 of 2021, the day before those copays went into effect, because we know they are backdoor stealing from our health plan in the form of copays. And the city's already telling us that they're going to increase those copays and increase deductibles, and there's nothing we could do about it because he and his group agreed to it. All right, folks, I'm going to go. Have a great morning. Call the city council, call the speaker's office, call your former union and ask them where they stand. If you are paying a PAC, and they're not supporting you, you need to consider whether or not you will rescind that. I'm not suggesting you withdraw your dues. You could stay loyal to your organization if you so choose to. I'm telling you, your political action donations, those are the ones that we're saying, because if this, like yesterday, Henry went to Albany to lobby against our bill, that's your people's money. That's your $3 a month. That's going to have him go to Albany and pay for his travel and pay for his hotel and pay for his meals to go work against you. That's what we're talking about. Find out where your union stands. We're already telling you where he stands. You don't even need to make that call other than to harass the hell out of him. But call your locals and ask them, your former unions, and ask them where they stand. If they won't tell you and you're paying a political action donation to them, consider rescinding that. It's time. Now they want to play hardball, so will we. We are no longer their daytime army. We are our own army, and we are coming out to protect not only our city bill, but our state legislation is also in place now, and I'll be announcing that on Friday. Our state bill is back in place with two state, a Senate, and an Assembly sponsors. We are ready to go. We just need to kneecap this guy and get him to stop working against us and stealing our health care. You have a great morning, everyone. I'm going to have another cup of espresso.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. spy.